one complaint that most employers seem to have is that it is very difficult to find an employee who has the right attitude. They may have the right skills, but not the right attitude. How does one gain or cultivate attitude, the right one? Every educationist will tell you it is that student who has the right attitude who goes to the top, not the one with the maximum intelligence. But are universities, schools and colleges doing anything about it? Except for that one fact that during some tasks they ask students to reflect on their attitude, I don't see very much happening. Everything is left to chance. Perhaps the chance of having the right role models in one's life.
Let us look at what is right attitude. Shraddha, that's a primary requirement. The faith that whatever task that we are about to do is important enough and we need to undertake it and complete it fully. So that is what we mean by faith. That is what is the meaning of Shraddha. Then comes humility. The approach to a teacher has to be humble, acknowledging the fact that we need to learn a lot more, irrespective of the status of the teacher. The student needs to understand that and approach the learning and the teacher with that lack of pride. Then comes the desire to learn. A student must have the desire that they need to learn something. Only then the student will do what it takes to learn. And that desire is another primary requirement. Then we have the endurance, what we call hard work in traditional terms. The ability to sustain, come what may, even if there is a hurdle, small hurdle. But that can be easily accomplished only when there is engagement. Student needs to immerse himself or herself, ask questions and do what it takes. Participate with concentration, not in a half-hearted manner. That is called engagement. So these are the 5 basic requirements for building the right attitude. So how did the ancient Gurukul deal with this? What did the rishis and the saints do to develop this attitude among students? First of all, the teacher treated all his students equally, whether they were royalty or commoners. And then he provided the instructions that are required. They were then given tasks to accomplish, sometimes challenging and sometimes routine, but they had to do it independently, independent of adult intervention. Thus, the Guru got an opportunity to observe the student and decide on the next step that they needed. After observing the student, the Guru would then decide what kind of intervention the student needs. It could be that he may send the student to learn some vocation because that is where their level of development is and that's what should be the focus for that student. Or the Guru may decide that the student requires his own guidance and instructions and retain him with him. Or it could be that he may advise the student on contemplative instructions like going for meditation so that the required maturity levels are gained, or just send them off. If they are ready, he might even send them off to the forest to contemplate all on their own for spiritual gain. And if the Guru decided that the student just needs to streamline his thoughts, the Guru would put him on a regimen for that. What did the Guru do for thought streamlining? The thought is to be decided based on 2 things. The first is the word. Now, whatever the words come out of the mouth of a student, of an individual should be corroborated with the deed that he performs. So when the two coincide, the Guru knew what the thought process was for the student and then decided on intervention. The Guru understood that thoughts were the seed from which actions were born. So he knew that the thought had to be observed through the word of the student, that is the written or the spoken word, and then the action or the deed that grew from the thought. And that is what shaped the attitude of the student, of any individual for that matter. And that resulted in the learning. So because he knew this process, the teacher knew where to intervene. So how does this thought streamlining work? Patanjali, the father of yoga, said that there are 5 ways our thoughts get colored. He called them kleshas. The first one is ignorance. Ignorance of reality can set off a certain set of thoughts and result in action. Never mind if they are good or bad action, but they result in action. Then ego can color our thought big time, and that brings about a certain set of actions. The third is attachment. Mild or extreme attachment can cause thoughts to be colored and result in action. Then under the title of hatred, we can include envy, jealousy, anger. In Patanjali's terms, it is called dveshas. Even enmity, anything like that comes under hatred. So this is the 4th coloring. And the final is fear. Fear of losing status, losing the status quo, or fear of the unknown. Both come under this, and that also triggers action. Now, good or bad action can happen either ways because of these colorings, but that action accrues what we call karma. So you have thoughts that color.
We owe a lot to Patanjali, the father of yoga. Unfortunately, only one of the 8 limbs that he propagated seems to be popular. That is the asanas. There are 2, first 2, which is the yama and niyama, which are ignored. But therein lies a treasure house for all educators. The tools to help students and human beings streamline thoughts is available in those tools. And I think it is time to tap into it.